Shall we start now?
Sir.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all. Hello. At this webinar on Beyond ChatGPT, a journey into LLMs. Today, we have with us the speaker Aman Ahluwalia, who will guide us on this topic. Before we go into details and addressed by our Vice Chairperson WRC Rahul Bhai, I request all of you to be ready for I say motto sound, please.
येष सुप्तेषु जागृति येष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामंशो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रदब्रह्मा तदब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शितः सर्वे तदूनात्यधिकश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you, members. Now I request our Vice Chairperson WRC Rahul Bhai Parikh to address the members. Rahul Bhai. Hello, Rahul Bhai.
Hello.
Yes, Rahul Bhai.
Yeah. So. Good evening.
Rahul Bhai.
Learning machine languages, but basically we popularly know its avatar as ChatGPT. But as I'm sure we'll be learning today, there are many avatars to AI-based software like ChatGPT. There is Gemini, and what we will be learning today is, I think, the various facets of artificial intelligence and the programs and apps that are available that may possibly aid us in performing our work more and more efficiently. And it's not necessary that ChatGPT is the answer to everything, because social media is flooded with messages. Do Excel with ChatGPT, this, that. But then there are many specific also available. And I think so it will be a very, very enlightening tool session today. I thank Aman Bhai for sparing valuable time. And I hope I wish everybody a happy learning. Thank you. Over to Ishwar Bhai.
Yes, thank you, Rahul Bhai. Now, before we go into the topics, I request Dinesh Tejwani ji to introduce our today's faculty, Aman Ahluwalia ji. Over to you, Dinesh ji.
Thank you, Ishwar. Today we have the privilege of hearing from Aman Ahluwalia, who is Head of Data Engineering at Partex Group. Aman oversees an extensive range of data operations, including data crawling, triangulation, cloud scaling, and knowledge graph development. His work primarily involves using generative AI and data science to unlock valuable insights and foster innovation across sectors. Aman comes to us with a rich academic background, holding a master's degree in machine learning from Georgia Tech. Professionally, he has led data teams across Europe, South America, and the Asia-Pacific region, combining his technical expertise, vast global leadership experience to drive pioneering approaches in the field of data engineering. We look forward to a session filled with insightful knowledge. Welcome, Aman, and over to you to begin today's session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the generous introduction, Dinesh. So I'll start sharing the slides and then we can go ahead with that. So in the meanwhile, I'll just give everybody. Am I audible firstly?
Yes,
Pretty
yes,
clear?
very much.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So I'll just give like how the session will look like, and then we can. So first, I'll go with the presentation what I have, where we will be covering like how the LLMs were created in a very superficial level, and like how much data is needed and everything, and then we will dive into the main topic, which is how these LLMs have started rising, what are the use cases, like what are different alternatives that are available to ChatGPT. Of course, that is the topic what we have to deal with. In terms of public usage, like you can commercially use it. Then we have Indian LLMs, what are supported, what languages they support. Then beyond that, we'll also be going through the what are the open source ones, and then we'll be having a quick demo where that will be an interesting part. We'll be showing you difference between the prominent market available LLMs which can make your life day-to-day work easier and which will be the best choice for your particular use case. So let's dive into it. My screen is visible to everybody. Just a confirmation is if my screen is visible.
Yes, yes, Aman, visible. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So it all started with artificial intelligence. That's the buzzword we hear everywhere. So artificial intelligence, the initial motto when the term was coined was like simulate a human brain. That was an overkill that time when it was coined. But this is what we also, when we entered into education of computer science and artificial intelligence, have the vision in mind to create any task which humans do, human intelligence can do, not the physical ones, but human intelligence, we can replace it with some sort of computer program. That it initially started with this approach in mind. Then we started aggressive research in different areas and we unlocked various subtypes, subdomains of it. Which one? There are like machine learning is there, data mining is there. So I'll go with what are the main which will the path which will reach us to LLM. So artificial intelligence came in, then there was a machine learning, which is a subfield of artificial intelligence, and which usually talks about which where we give away the data. We have the data in form of say spreadsheet or anything. We give away, then there is a model created. That's a mathematical model which gives us that this is the prediction. In that also there are two types: supervised, unsupervised. Supervised means we have given a data and as well what are the say output. For example, your all images are available, so you give an image to you give a data where images are there and the age of the people are written, for example, right now. Then later my image is given and it is able to predict what is the age. So this is like you are teaching the model that this is an apple or this is a banana. And there is unsupervised one which is like you are just throwing away data. You are not giving any like column, which column the value is there, what is the result. Just learn anything from the data. So it tries to create patterns on all those things. That is unsupervised learning. So that is the diagram shows like in this case, the right case, you have just been given books, you don't know what will be coming, so just learn everything. So yeah, then there is a final layer to it from machine learning, that is deep learning, which came like it actually came in 60s only. There was one research, but nobody paid attention. The reason was massive compute requirements, and we were at 60s or 70s in 1960s 70s. We were not having that much compute power. Then when the computation power began, and in 2008 there was one paper written where they were able to actually test it. Then this started becoming a reality. What happens here is we have this simulates the brain neurons. Like in brain, we have neurons which trigger when we do a thought process. Like I'm speaking right now, and there is a particular neuron is triggering. Similar way, we created mathematical neurons, and with those, we were able to predict what will be the next thing. Like I've shown an image, and it without showing anything, just with an image, it can tell that it like there's a dog in the image who is playing with a boy, something like that. And then more finer layer comes a generative AI. Now generative AI goes one level beyond what uh, normal say deep learning can do. In neural deep learning, you can predict that the ball is maybe a dog is playing with a boy, or you can differentiate between a dog and a cat. That you give him cat, it will identify it's a dog and a cat. But generative AI, you can tell it just like writing, please show me a dog with a boy, and it will create an entire new image for you. So in terms of image, it can create new things. In terms of songs, nowadays people are creating music with the help of this LLMs. You just write a prompt that I need, say, music from a jazz music with low bass or some jazz, of course, with low bass or high pitch, and it will create a music for you. That is generative AI. You can see few examples like ChatGPT is also a type of generative AI, plus image generation, that uh, art to text also the reverse way. You have given a image, and now you have to tell what all things are there in an image without any training or anything, because these models are initially learned on huge amounts of data. Huge means these are like entire Googles of data. They are learned on entire data which is available on web. For example, ChatGPT is learned on that. This particular thing was not possible before because it requires large amounts of training as well as compute costs. Huge. We use lot of GPUs to actually create LLM from scratch. So this GPU count can, the cost for training an LLM for creating these models can go up to millions of dollars. Like, yeah, really millions of dollars. Uh, then there are different parts of it, like how LLM was created. This is like simple RNN, LSTM, and transformers. This was a paper by Google initially in 2017 when they brought a paper on LSTM transformers, and it showed how we can correlate things. And I'll just quickly walk through it, like encoder, decoder, and just this it's a nitty gritty details of how computers work and how LLMs work internally when they were trained on. So this was a paper by Google. I'll just explain you how it was trained on. Like consider there is a mathematical model which is something like which I've showed you before, transformer, encoder, decoder, or anything. Then what LLMs were actually made initially, the idea was not what we see today. The initially idea was you give it a sentence, it will predict what is the next word. So, for example, the cat, it will predict the next word. Is it eat, stay, sat? Now, how it will predict based on our input? Like when we gave the data to it, the data was like this is the word, this is the sentence. And after each and every word, it reads, okay, now after this word is coming. Okay, then we rate it. Then we ask him to please check like what are the, this is a sentence and give me an output. So when it was giving an output, we'll say, no, the scoring is low. So it gave three outputs, each stays sad. If you see on the right hand side of the diagram, the cat, it gives each stays sad. We say no. It gives this probability and we say no, sat is the correct word, rest all are wrong. Then it starts learning to that. It will start to improve the results. Earlier, it will give everything at an equal proportion. Slowly and slowly, we start to teach. Like, for example, we are teaching a kid, a small boy. If I have a kid and I want to teach him the language, I'll say, after I'll say some next word I'll say to him, right? So, like I said, right after that. So, this is like the cat sat on a bench. So, I'll explain my kid that when we are saying cat sat on a has to come, then bench has to come. Bench means it is a chair. That is the same way the LLMs learn. That what is the next word? This was the initial creation. With time, when we have lots and lots of data and lots of training, it was actually it became so powerful that it was able to create sentences also, and new Shakespeare type content. It all Earlier it was dependent on what sort of small data we give. Now they are ran on entire Google, so they have knowledge about the entire world, whatever data is they're trained on. And now they're able to predict also, because based on patterns they have learned, they are able to predict. Sort of a knowledge graph they create internally in their mind. So yeah, so that is the gist of how the LLMs will work. So now when I am saying again and again LLM, what that LLM is, it is actually a large language model. That's the full form. That only means it is trained on huge amount of data, huge amount of language model or language data. So it's just a deep learning algorithm that understands, that's trained in a way which I've explained you before. So yeah, so this is what it is written. Foundation model trained on immense amount of data, making the capable understanding and generating natural language other types of content to perform a wide range of tasks. LLMs operate on leveraging deep learning techniques, and so that's all the creation part, which I've already explained you. So during the training process, these terms predict the next word in a sentence based on the context provided by the preceding words. LLMs can generate text by automatically predicting the next word based on the input they receive. Moving next. So yeah, so now when we create, there are various issues we face. Forget about creating. Even right now, if I am using an LLM, there should be a finer grainer detail in my mind that it can give a wrong result. What do you mean by wrong result? So it is not a maths equation. Like what it was trained was to predict the next word, and it was trained on some data. But when I'm trained on something, it tries to hallucinate. Hallucinate means it tries to create something which actually doesn't exist, but it knows how to give the next word. So this is a case which happened in New York. So there was a lawyer who was actually banned. His bar license was taken away by the New York attorney because he generated this report using ChatGPT, and he cited a case which actually never existed. So there was never that case in the books, and he used ChatGPT to write the response, and so it gave a law which never existed. So we have to be very cautious while using these ChatGPTs. Although in technically when we are using in domains like auto generation and all those things, we use it a finer greener details, because we use some sort of RAG framework where we give our data and give the bounds that please don't go beyond that. But this is outside of ChatGPT. This is not in ChatGPT. We do it outside in the applications which we create. We give it a finite knowledge set. We give, like asking it, please give the answers only from these 5 documents, for example, and don't think about anything outside. There are other hi-fi techniques like knowledge graph, which relates things, and with that we are able to expand its knowledge, but that is beyond the scope of this particular seminar. Yeah, this slide only talks about this, and maybe once it is here, you guys can read about it. Uh, Moving next. So the prompting formula is also important. What we mean by prompt. Prompt is, for example, if I ask ChatGPT anything, so we all must have used ChatGPT, and we ask them questions like, so if I ask anything, the answer depends on what I'm asking. It very much depends on how I'm constructing the question to it. Either I can chat with him in that case, because we humans, when we interact, so after some time, we are able to understand that person. And we know that, for example, Mr. Dinesh is there, how I have to talk to him. If I'm sitting with my kid, how I have to talk to him. So that's how chat GPTs also function. They understand you, but we have to be very clear on explaining them the entire thing so that it can answer what it needs to. For example, in finance, for say, if we are directly throwing, please give me what is 5 into 10, or we can give it few examples, for example, and then exactly ask what I mean is the multiplication between these, that will be giving a better answer. So basic funda what we follow at when we are creating applications for it is that we divide it into 5 or 6 parts. So these are persona, task, context, exemplars, persona, format, and tone. So persona is the first thing where we say you are a seasoned investment analyst, because this has the entire knowledge of entire group. When we say this thing that you are a seasoned investment analyst with a knack of predicting market trends, then it starts to think, okay, I have to take this part of the literature, I have to give it more priority because I'm acting as an analyst, because it already knows what analyst is, what investment analyst is, because it has been given that data already. So that is the first thing. Rest. Second thing is task. When we're giving a task, so we should always begin with an action work specifying the desired output, what it has to do, what you want it from them. We don't have to create stories about everything. We just have to say, you are an expert. I need this answer. Like in this case, craft a detailed investment report outlining the reasons for selecting a specific tech stock. So what the person is trying to ask is, I need the answer of the investment report, but I also need what all the steps you take while selecting these particular stocks. Okay, so this way it is very clear that model has to predict, do the stepwise analysis and then give us the answer. Third is the context, offers just enough relevant information by addressing background, success criteria, environment. Like when I assign a task to my colleague, for example, I always say that this will be your task, this will be your UAC, user acceptance criteria, and this is what I'm expecting. This is sort of that where we give, for example, here highlights the factors that makes the tech stock a promising investment opportunity, and include example of successful tech stocks investment you have recommended in the past. This is like, and this is exemplars and context together. I've stated exemplars is examples of frameworks within the prompt enhance output quality. The next is the format, like what format, visually what format I want the output in, because it can throw explanations, and when we are creating applications, we need it in a particular format. For example, you guys might be needing it in a form of a table, in say with rows and columns that you can stick in your maybe Excel sheets. So that's where you give the format, like what sort of answer I'll be needing, such as the report with clear section, introduction, company files, you can edit here. And then last is the tone. Tone means, is it for like casual analysis? Is it for a professional way? What sort of way you want to answer it? So if you'll combine everything and give it a proper prompt, it will be giving you the results in the way which you envision it to do. Because sometimes we are lazy and we just say, give me a stock analysis of this. So sometimes it might hallucinate, it might give some random results, it, or even if they are giving correct results, it might be in a totally weird format which you don't require, then you have to again ask. So that's why we use this. And we basically, in engineering's perspective, this is very important, because we have to ask these answers in a loop. There's no human sitting, we sometimes run these things in loop that fill us these answers automatically, and that is what LLMs are doing. That's why it becomes very important for us to get it in this format. Moving next. So before doing that, I'll also give you a classic example where we use these in loops. For example, uh, there are you must have there are notices that come to from government. So with if we have created the prompt clearly, we can automatically reply to those notices based on prompts and around data, around whatever memory or knowledge you have gathered. So with RAG, which was earlier explained here, you can combine these approaches and create some sort of answer which will automatically reply to the government. Nowadays, all the big fours, I think, are doing that. That they create the answer to a response of a notice automatically using RAGs. So they use some sort of prompt and RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, and then they give an output. In retrieval augmented generation, we just give that please answer from these set of documents so that you don't hallucinate. And they are automatically able to create the output for the government and it is automatically sent. So yeah, so moving ahead to the next section, which is how the LLMs are evolving and what are the by time which LLM came. So this all started, as you can see, in 1967. Elisa Elisa was the pioneer work for all us as an engineers. This was uh, actually psychiatric there was a psychiatric doctor, I think somewhere in Europe. So that we use the scientists use his data to train the bot to answer and ask questions. So in a psychiatric, the communications are logged, whatever they communicate with the patients. So usually they are very psychic sort of things. They are not very straightforward things. They are like very absurd answers. So the bot was also it was trained on that data. So the answers it was also giving was very straightforward, like or straightforward or maybe maybe weird in sense which normal public can understand because they were given by most of the text was the words came out of psychic patients. So that is the first experiment that was done and it showed us that it very much depends on what sort of data we are giving to the model and hence the chatbot will do something like that. So this is the then LSTM scheme, which is long short term memory, which is like you try to understand the local context, which is the next word, as well as the past memory that what is there in the complete paragraph. So if I'm writing, uh, uh, say an article, if I have to write an article on something, the immediate answer to a particular line will depend on what line you are writing. The next word will depend, but it will also depend on which para you are. That there is an abstract in the starting, then there is some details. So you have to consider the context of before as well. Then that is the meaning of long short term memory. Then Stanford gave a core NLP library which can be used for all these tasks. Then Google Brain gave a research, then Google Transformer architecture. In 2017, this LLM Transformer came into play, which is what led to the evolution of LLM. There was a paper by Google in 2017, which was the like encoder decoder paper. Transformers are actually encoder decoders. So that paved a way for all these LLMs which came into the market. Then, of course, GPT-3, everybody knows, came in 2020. Then the 3.5 model came. Then the 4 model came. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next year 5 you will see, or maybe tomorrow also it can come. This field is changing very quickly. Now the rise in the usage of LLMs. Okay, so if you see the stats in 2023, it was very minimal. Like market size was around 43 billion and now it has risen to 666 billion US dollars. The reason is marketing. It has been marketed so heavily and OpenAI is the reason. OpenAI is the, by the way, owner of ChatGPT, which is the GPT models and the UI which we see ChatGPT. They market it in a way, and plus people were able to. LLMs existed earlier also. Since 2017 they existed, but they were only limited to corporate like big giants like Apple, Google, and all Amazons and all those stuff. But when OpenAI publicized it, like with help of ChatGPT, everybody started to see an opportunity in each and everything. Right now, in personally my work, in the entire office, we are mostly replacing all the earlier models with help of LLMs. LLMs are LLMs are so highly means accurate that they can do almost any natural language task which we used to do by custom machine learning models. And the interactive chat simulator, which they have talked about in the right, then interns can be trained on enormous amounts of unstructured data through self-supervised learning. So we just have to give it a data and it will learn on their own. So that is the reason it has started to rise a lot. So there are also two things, like there are LLMs which are built by companies, and there are LLMs which are fine tuned by some companies, like the scale which I am. We fine tune the existing model for our own needs. So that also requires huge amount of compute power, but not to the scale of millions of dollars. Then this is the same way why suddenly these LLMs are there are so many LLMs around, because after OpenAI, many companies came that we can also provide you that. Then Google also get an idea. Oh, we are using it. Why not we publicize it? Then they also started publicizing it, and that's the way you are able to see these. So increase in computational resources was the reason for there was so many data available. So these became very intelligent, and there was so much compute power and money. Always we have all money to burn on these microprocessors, and that's the reason we are seeing these models. Advancements, of course, that happened in 2017, which I've showed you here in the journey. Yeah, moving ahead, what other prominent LLMs other than ChatGPT? So this mostly talks about the model names. That there are GPT-4, which is by OpenAI, Lambda is by Google, Llama is there by Meta. Meta is Facebook, by the way. Then there is Bloom, Palm, Bard. All these are names of the model that are used. So one thing is the model that is used, that is the brain, and one thing is, for example, the UI, the face you are seeing me. So that is the chat GPT is the face, and the model behind it is GPT. So there was 3.5, now they have 4. So so yeah, now we are coming to the interesting part, which is how these LLMs compare to each other. So there are various LLMs. The specifically the UI, the what is useful for you, like as an end user, what end user can use maybe on their phones or on their tablets or on on their computers, which can help them in their day-to-day life. So if I start with ChatGPT, of course, you all must be using. It is from OpenAI, and that is not open source. Open source means the code is readily available; anybody can use it. No, it is closed source. You can only use it from the system, or you can use their API, which you have to pay for. Then there are this param says like what are the million parameters it is trained on. So I told you about perceptron, which was like how the signals are trained. So they has 1.76 trillion parameters it is trained on. So that means if you say there is a in mathematics we all have learned x is equal to, sorry, 2x plus 3y plus z is equal to something. So here x, y, z are the parameters. So they are trained on 1.76 trillion of those. So for training those, you might be needing huge petabytes, or even I cannot say the bytes in terms of data you will be needing. And that's when you can learn this, because even for equation of two parameters, you need 4 lines, 4 equations to get the answer. So that's why you can get a scale of it. And fine tunability just means that we can fine tune it or not for our own task. For example, I told you that there are models which big companies make, and there are models which our companies make, which is using the existing model and fine tuning it on particular data. So that we can, and there's a mobile app or not, and price per month, and image class. This is the parameters we'll be using right now in this slide. Later in the demo, I'll be going more in depth. So if I compare, like for example, ChatGPT has a fine tunability. We can do that if it is needed. And there is a mobile app, of course. Then price per month. This is for just the premium model, that which gives you access to GPT-4. Nowadays they are launching GPT-4o without premium, and earlier it was 3.5. But with GPT, if you need the exact 4, then you need to pay $20 per month. And then yeah, image generation by GPT is only available in the paid version. The normal one cannot generate an image. So maybe sometimes you need an image of a graph, like for example in finance, I'm not very sure. Maybe you need to show a flow chart of how the price is collected. That is an image you cannot generate without the unpaid one. Then comes the Copilot, which is by Microsoft. Uh, Now there is a interesting part. So Microsoft has a stake in OpenAI. So they also have access to that same GPT model, which OpenAI uses. So they use uh, that same model GPT along with GPT-4, along with their Bing. Bing is their search engine like Google, and they created Copilot. So it is open source. Yes, they made it somewhat open source, but it is actually not completely open source. They just introduced the code of how they integrated with GPT. So actually, it is not open source. Should have written that. Number of parameters, yes. Fine tunability, they don't have fine tunability because, because of, I don't know, maybe legal reasons between ChatGPT, OpenAI, and them. Mobile app, they do have. Price per month is almost same. Everything is same, and they have a free account as well. Plus, everything in their image generation is free for you, so you can create the image. That we'll see later when we go to the demo part. Then there are other players you must have not heard of, which is Claude, for example. This is a company named Anthropic, which has launched their model Claude 3, and it is also not open source. They have params they have not specified because they have kept it. They have just publicized the front end. Use it. They are not telling anything. Whatever is there in the black box, we don't know. So fine tunability, no. Mobile app, yes, they also have a mobile app, and their pricing is nearly same. And they cannot generate the images, but they can take the PDFs and stuff, but they cannot generate it. Only input they can take. They cannot generate anything out of it image. Then created Google. Google has their own Gemini. Earlier they were having Palm, now it is Gemini. Gemini, you guys can use it using the browser. Uh, it is also free. It is completely free. You can use it for now. Later they are introducing a $19.9 pricing. I think 30th May was the last day for API free usage. uh, for API, they extended it to 30th May. So today was the last day, and now the costing is this. They don't have a mobile app per se, but you can use Gemini in the Android phone if you have. You can enable in the searches with Gemini, so that you can do in the Android app. And fine tunability, they have said it will be coming, but it has not. And they are a little bit smaller model of 175 billion, but with good prediction. So we can see, of course, Google is the master of this. Then now comes the open source models. By the way, am I going so fast, or are you guys with me? Shall I go?
No, Aman, this is good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So uh, now comes the second part, which is what are the open source models? What is the meaning of firstly open source? Open source means the source. Maybe I'll switch to a slide which talks about what open source means. Open source means the source code, whatever the code, the model they have used, is openly available and anybody can use it. So if they open the source code to me, this is what we actually use. We fine tune the models on our own GPUs. We have our in-house GPUs. We fine tune those GPUs based on the open source code which is available. And these LLMs are also becoming very prominent these days. So some companies like Facebook, for example, Meta, which is their parent company, they have launched all their models. They have open sourced it, so anybody can use it. Anybody can contribute to it. Even for example, Google has Android, which is not an LLM, but that is an open source code basis available for Android. For iOS, it is not available. So that is not an LLM, but the OS operating system what we use in phone. Just to give you an analogy, what that is. So in proprietary LLMs, source code is not publicly available and cannot be modified. In open source, we can modify also, which we do here. So open source ones offer high customization flexibility, allowing users to modify the model according to their needs. But the only thing is the modification, customization, when they have in mind, it is more focused towards tech companies or giants so that they can help them, or developers, so that they can help them to grow. Because what company gets out of when they are open sourcing it is two things. So if Android was not open source, they would have needed to hire a Google need to hire a very big team for just creating Android as what we see today to compete against iOS, because it was from long time. So Google open sourced it. Open source means any developer can create a patch on it, then the Google developers will check and they merge it. So they are getting free codes from around the world. What this is the one of the biggest advantage they get out of open sourcing. Second advantage is, of course, the easy accessible means people try to get used, the companies, or yeah, the companies get to use it very quickly. That's why we see Android is available in all the phones. You buy Samsung, you buy Huawei has been locked right now. You, sorry to say, that was because of some US constraint, but any other company like Redmi or any other company will be using Android because it is open source, but it is not taken by iOS is not used apart from Apple because they have not open sourced it. They have kept it for themselves only. So easy adoption is also one of the thing, and marketing, of course, they are marketed as the leaders when we give, like Meta is giving the some LLM. Customized options are limited in proprietary LLMs, typically tailored by the provider. So yeah, in proprietary LLMs, it is mainly focused on if they have given a feature, then only you can use it. You cannot create something like in iOS. If it is given, you can use it. Otherwise, you cannot. And then open source LLMs relies on community contributions, which I have already covered. And proprietary LLMs are backed by dedicated support teams from the provider offering comprehensive support services. Last is open source LLMs also have some sort of license. What license means is there is an, for example, an LLM which is available open source, but only for research work. That is the case with Android as well. I'll not go into their licenses. So it is available freely for your research. So you can create comment, you can write a code, you can publish it, but only for research purposes. There are some licenses which focus that for commercially you can use it. So in some license, if you're using it for commercially, that is, you're making money out of it, you have to pay a portion to that company, which is Android's case. But if you are not using commercially, then you can use it freely. So it depends on the license, what license that has given. And proprietary all elements, of course, they will be having complete security. Like you can only use it when they have given you a term and all those things. But UI and all, you can use it freely because they only open the parts which they think according to their business model suits you. So they'll not open everything for you. Let's move back. So now the open source LLMs, what are available in the market? They are Mixtral. There's a this 8 into 7B is a model name. This is a company named Mistral, MIS, and Mixtral is their model. So that is by Mistral company. Sorry, sorry, it is written wrong here. Meta. It is by Mistral. I'll correct it before posting the slides. It is by Mistral and developer name. And focus is on text translation and multilingual tasks because it supports a lot of languages. Code is available on GitHub. GitHub is just a code repo which we developers use in and out. Ease of usage, yeah, we can use it, but there is no front end. So we have to create a front end to use it. Or there are nowadays Mixtel is launching a front end also. They have launched it, but it is not public. It is not that much used by public for yet. Weakness, complexity handling, object tracking. The object tracking means in an image tracking where it is available. Then there was a Llama 3, which is by Meta, of course, which is efficient large scale multilingual model and parameter scale. Llama is recently, only last month launched, by the way. This month starting actually. This month on 3rd Llama was launched on May. So this field is changing very, very, very quickly. Llama 2 was there, and the next day when I woke up, I actually put a model on the GPU here. GPU cost is very high, by the way. It's in crores. So we are recently getting 100 GPUs and the cost is around 400 crores or so. So one Llama model was put in one GPU, and the next day a new Llama 3 was launched. So this field changes very quickly, and we have to move along with that. So then it has also their strengths because it's a large parameter one, and it is the course source code is available freely, anybody to use. Meta means Facebook. Then Google DeepMind has launched Gemma. DeepMind is their what do you say daughter company. It's based in London, so that focuses on all the AI or the smart things. That is DeepMind company. They created first simulator which actually defeated the Go player. Go is very famous in China and North Korea. Sorry, South Korea. So they defeated that player. That is the same company that is owned by Google, and that model was launched. It was supported 60 plus languages, flexible technical approach, complex reasoning biases, and lightweight. It was very lightweight, public on uh, Hugging Face and as well as GitHub. So Hugging Face is a model that is used by us. The models are available. You can directly use the model weights. When I say weights means those mathematical equations. What is the meaning of x? What is the value of x, y, z? That is when I say weights. Moving next. So it is what the Indian LLMs. So we Indians are also not behind. We are creating our own LLMs. So most of the commercial companies are creating the mid-scale commercial companies are creating models which are fine-tuned on the already existing ones, like the ones which are given the open source. We fine-tune on our data. We have around 10 petabytes of data, we at Partex. So we have also fine-tuned the model, the open source Llama 3 model to create what we need. But that is our own proprietary model now. But this Indian LLMs, they are created from scratch, like the ones which we have seen, the GPTs and Mixtrals. So they are created from scratch. They have used the transformer architecture, encoder, decoder, or decoder only, and they have trained everything to from the huge amounts of data to create. So there is one by IIT Bombay. This is also open source, by the way, and the languages supported are Hindi, English, Bengali, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam. Yeah, you can read all those here. And then there is one by IIT Madras. So of course they will also release one. There are competition between colleges as well. This is Open Hathi. This is 100 billion parameter, and the training size was 600 GB. So it's a smaller version of what Bharat GPT was, because it came afterwards. Now it was most focused on same languages, and it is also open source and the same type of things it can do. The only difference is Bharat GPT is good with code generation also. So we don't have to write the code. We just say, please write something and it will create a code for you. So there are actually some LLMs available for code generation like GitHub Copilot, but I'll not go into that. So yeah, so that Bharat GPT is better from OpenAI in that. Then there is one Hanuman. So Microsoft research in India, the Indian team of Microsoft created one model which is Hanuman, and it is a very small model, 3 billion only, and based on 300 GB of data, and it's only Hindi and English. Same is Bhashini, which is by Google Research again. So every company also have their independent offices and they create something for their own needs. So it is becoming so easy nowadays because the research papers are all publicly available. So you can create your own thing if you have huge amount of money and compute power. So compute power all is about money. If you have money, you can create. Papers are available. You have the brains, create your own one. So then it is trained on 1 terabyte. Google, of course, have the maximum data, so nobody can compete on that. Then Indus project by Tech Mahindra, it was very recently launched. It has around 40 billion and 1.2 text, and it supports 40 plus Indian dialects. So yeah, it is very efficient for Indian projects, but it is not available yet. It is going to be available as far as last news I checked. So moving ahead, this slide I've already covered. So I'll move to the next one, which is considerations while choosing an LLM. So what we should think when we are choosing an LLM. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, I'll be checking those after this presentation and before the demo, and even after the demo also we'll be checking those. Okay. So then considerations while choosing an LLM. So it depends on what is the task you are going to use it for. What is the output you are expecting, and what are the resources you are having available. This is more from a company's perspective, or when you're doing some research. This slide, next slide, is for everyday usage. So in research, performance metrics like accuracy, fluency, and coherence. Coherence means like the logical flow. What do you want it to do it in a flowchart manner, or what you want to do it, or what is the generated content you want? You want it in a say fixed PDF format, or you want it in a table format, or what format your Excel. So yeah, so that is what we need to decide what is available in. So some LLMs give something, some chatbots give something. So we have to decide on that. Then scalability, how much we can scale. Scale it means like Llama 3, I can use it on my own GPUs. So I don't need to pay anything, just my GPU, so it is running. But for example, ChatGPT, I have to pay if I want to run it. So what is the future growth? And the same goes for resource requirement in that sense, only training data and the computational resources which I have. Now the key factors which you or any end user can see when they are deciding is the parameter size, because parameter size defines like how big the model is, how big the model is trained on. If you see Chat GPT 3, there was a Chat GPT 3 version, now there's a 4 version. 4 is a paid one, 3.5 is a free one. So it has less parameters, 3.5, 4.1 has a bigger pool of parameters. That means if it is a bigger mathematical equation, then that means the accuracy will be better. So that's why the payment will be there. So the parameter size helps you in that. Then context window means, yeah, this is a very good topic of context window. Context window means like how much data I can give it. Like if you give Chat GPT right now, earlier the context was for 3.5 only 32K. So if you give a 32K means 32,000 tokens. So one token is around 3 by 4 of a word. So if you give like around big paragraphs, say for example, I give it a book, complete book of all the 100 pages, it will not be able to do. The biggest context window is with Google, by the way. Gemini has a biggest context window size. They can accept, earlier it was 100K, now they are improving it to a million. So if you give million tokens, million words, that means around not million, around 750K words. So 1 million is 750K because 3 into 4, 3 by 4. So you can give an entire book and it can summarize something for you. Then comes a focus area, like what specifically it is targeted for. Is it an image creation one? Is it an storytelling one? Or is it an day-to-day usage like Chat GPT? Or what it is focus area is there? Okay. Then what is the customization? You can do it or not. Like I want the answers which are suited more to me. It should learn about me. I want answers to be like I'm a poet. I want answers to be funny. I don't want the answers to be to the point, because I'm trying to create something. I'm a musician. I want the music to be created in that way. So this comes in play. Then licensing, of course, the material created by a, yeah, this is a very good point that everybody right now, most of the people ignore. Even I might be ignoring in some cases. That when you're using a GPT, there are always things that what you can commercially use or what you can use for research purpose. For example, there is a recent case between OpenAI and one celebrity, because I'm not remembering the name of that celebrity, because her photo was generated. There was OpenAI generated an image, their Sora model, which was looking very close to that actress, and that was a licensing issue. They have filed a case, and OpenAI is in a case right now with that. So that also depends. So what type of license they have, and the offerings, of course, the pricing and everything, like what they're offering for you. So these all things come in play when deciding you have to use it or not. Now I'll stop the presentations and I'll share it again with the demo. In the meanwhile, let's go over questions if you guys have any, or if you have written any in Q&A. So I can see a question by Chirao. Hi, Aman. Can you please suggest which LLM tool is the most suitable for internal auditing? Is there an effective use case of a tool which is working on autonomous AI? Okay, so auditing tools. Uh, you can use ChatGPT for using it for answering your questions, the commercial license one, but there are already tools which Big Four are already using, which is for auditing specifically, and they generate automatic responses to notices you are given, which I've already told you, or do auditing on those given the huge amount of data, whatever you give, based on RAG framework. So there is no particular tool. There are some smaller tools which are available, but their data security is not, we cannot question, because that's why big companies are right now going with creating their own tools on these GPTs to do all this auditing and all those things. But for helping you, you can of course use ChatGPT and Gemini. And so I'll show you the demo. There you can see which one will be more suitable for you. Uh, any other questions, guys, if you have?
Aman, there's a question in chat. It says context means that the PDF I upload should be less than 1,000 words. So maybe that context part you can explain again.
Yeah, let me open the QA. I forgot to open that.
It's in chat. It's not in QA. It's in
Yeah,
chat.
sorry. Yeah, now I've opened the chat. There is no disturbance in my mind. Can you check? Clear me another panelist. Okay, checking this. Yeah, so context means the PDF size, but no, context means what is the word size, because you ask a question, right? Generally we ask simple questions, but there might be the case that I want to give a complete paragraph. No, then again I want to give a complete, say 10 pages of 10 text, sorry, 10 pages of text. I want to give 1,000 words, I want to give 10,000 words, I want to give a complete book which has lot many words. So context depends on the number of words you are giving, number of words it is asking. So for everyday task we can of course ask small things. We ask, we'll write, when you're typing we'll of course write small things and we'll give an answer. But in actuality, when we need answers, we might be giving the entire web page which has 55,000 tokens. That GPT will not be able to do. Chat GPT will not be able to answer from you for you that. So for, yeah, so then you're giving PDF, of course, is one thing, is how big the PDF can be. It doesn't mean PDF, it just means what is the size. So yeah, that is the meaning of that. Then maybe I answered the question, Pratik, for you, and then I'll, yeah, okay, perfect, thanks. Moving ahead, please put the QA. How to develop a personal GPT? Yeah, so there are two things in personal GPT. One is the fine tuning, which we do, but nowadays, OpenAI, if you want to use GPT only, so OpenAI has given custom GPTs, which you can, if you go into their website, you can see a personal GPT option, which can help you give answers in your particular context, like finance GPT or something like that. But that you have to give it, train it on the data you have, so that it can answer you that questions. Bigger, like some companies like us, we are doing way ahead because we are having lots of data and engineers also to work on that. But for your personalization, you can use those to help. By the way, there is one more point in context I just remembered, which is, if in one screen you are using, how much context it can remember. So you start doing the chat with it, it can remember the context of last how many chats. That also comes in play. And Pooja, where can you find it for personal GPT? So in OpenAI website only it is available. When you go to the paid option, that is available there. Personal GPT, custom GPT. Just search custom GPT. On Google also you can search custom GPT. They give it, but that's a paid version for them. Yeah. So it will require some time for you to how to train it. Nowadays, in fact, like we have in our phones, we have Play Store, App Store we have, right? So nowadays there is a GPT store available with from OpenAI, which gives you all the GPTs built in for that particular task. They are trained on small things. Maybe I'll show you later when I'm giving the demo of that also. That's a GPT marketplace.
Uh,
Yeah,
Aman, Aman, if you can look at the Q&A section, There are a couple of questions. Do you want me to read out for you?
No, I'll go through it. That's fine. What are so going from starting? What about data privacy when we use free LLMs? Yes. So data privacy when we use free LLMs, they do use your data for training. FYI, that is that they all are using. So when you're using a free LLM, of course, your data, whatever you're typing, is used on training. So I think I answered your question, Prashant. Okay. Next, Pratik, how much is the limit to upload in the knowledge base? How there's no this the limit is by company if you're using an open source, if you're using a closed source one like OpenAI and there, and the limit is way high, so you can upload how much amount of data for personalization you want. But in when you're using the open source one, that the limit is there's no limit. Have the resource for training it, like we have GPUs here, so we have 100 GPUs, so you can train as many as you want, so there is no limit to that. Then did I answer, Pratik, for this one? How much is the limit upload? Okay. What is the temperature? Yeah, temperature means so when I explained you the word, like it is predicting the next word. Okay. So temperature says so there is a model that runs that gives probability. There I showed you that one word was getting 0.5, one was getting 0.2, and the other was getting 0.3. When temperature is used 0, it will always pick the highest one, which is the correct, which is fields. But when temperature is not 0, it will do some randomization. Randomization means when you give a temperature of 0.1, it is more eager to pick the 0.5 one, the biggest one, but will go slightly on a variable. Now you will ask, why is it needed? I will want the exact answer. So it is not needed on tasks which we are doing, but it is needed on creative tasks. Like I am asking GPT to create a story for me. So I don't want a fixed answer to pick it from Google and or somebody has written and just give it to me. I want it to be so interactive, attractive, something new. Something new should come out of it. So now people are creating entire movies out of it. In that domain, I need some randomization, that some new stuff should come which I am not. If I am a human, I'll not do that, but I want some randomization so that something new can be created. Same goes for music. I want it to create some music which I have not seen, so there it comes in play. Did I answer, Pratik? Okay. Moving next, privacy in paid LLM. Now that is also tricky. In paid LLMs, whatever you type earlier, they were using, and they were not using if you are passing it via API. But there was a case, and recently they have stopped using. At least what they are saying, that they are not using your data, but they do have your data, whatever you type, because that is needed for personalization. But they say they are not using it for training when using your paid one. Uh, did I answer it, Rajesh? Uh, moving, yeah. Moving ahead. What about disinformation? Can we rely on the accuracy? Ah, yeah. So yeah, that is the problem of hallucination, which I talked. It only depends. It solely depends on what data these guys are trained on. So if somebody bugs the entire web data to give false information, the false information might be coming. So it is a very political issue also. If I train it a lot on, say, one party's data, it will start giving like Democratic and Republican in there in US. So if the data is trained, if the trained data has more data inclined towards Republican, it will start giving me answers in those ways also. So and disinformation can occur, that I've showed you in hallucination. So it totally depends on how we can restrict it. That's why we do use RAG, which is not on front end, but it is a tool which is created on top of it, which companies nowadays, commercial companies are using it. Hitesh, did I answer your question? Yeah. So if we upload PDF and paid LLM, same answer, Rajesh. So you can upload, it will be saved. They have it, but they say they are not using it. So they say they are not using it for training. Now I don't know what they will be doing on backend. At least on commercial terms, they say they are not using. They're just keeping it for your sanity. But if they're using or not, nobody can say. Because recently Google's uh, there is somebody, some their ex developers, their Google papers are leaked, how the search engine was created, and it has a lot to do with whatever we have our queries were. So some things Google which ignored from past. So nobody knows what they're doing internally except from the company, but at least on legal terms they say they don't use it. Anybody other questions? Otherwise, we can go to the demo where we'll compare these three.
I don't think there are any questions anymore. You can proceed.
Perfect. Cool. I'll just arrange the screen and I'll then share it. Give me a moment, please. Okay. So I'll be sharing the entire screen now. Because I have to use different browsers to show in parallel. Let me know when you guys are able to see my screen.
Yes, visible.
Okay.
Visible.
Okay. Perfect. So let me hide this. So here I've opened three different windows. The first one, of course, you must all be knowing. This is ChatGPT. It is the 4.0 version, which is freely available. I have not bought the paid one for this demo. We do have in the company, but I'm not showing you here. This is a Copilot, which is freely available. They also have a paid version, but we are not using it. This is the Try Copilot Pro. So it is giving me limit to sign in. I can sign it, of course, but let's ask it for now. Later we'll see if we want to sign it up. Then there is a third one, which is Gemini, which is by Google. And yeah, that is also freely available, but paid also, which I've showed you earlier. So you can see very clearly that your conversations are processed by human reviewers to improve the technologies providing Gemini apps. Don't enter anything you want to review or use. So they are clearly saying that they will be using your data. You can read. So yeah, so you might see that this I've opened in Chrome. This one I've opened in Chrome, Gemini and the Chat GPT. But the Copilot one I've not opened in Chrome. It is in Bing because Copilot is from Microsoft, which is Bing. When you use in Microsoft Edge, it gives you a very high speed than when you're using it in Google. So I can show you, by the way. Let me first show that only actually. So sorry, Copilot. So if I open Copilot and search anything, maybe maybe let's search anything, and I'll do the same paste here as well. So which is the tallest building? Which is the tallest building? I'll write the same thing both the places. You can just see the difference in the response time. So let me. So wow, just see the difference. I've given the same query in when I'm using in Bing and when I'm using in Google Chrome. It is also giving me images and stuff when this the Chrome one in the when I'm using this Copilot in Microsoft one, and here I'm not getting. So this is one classic example. If I would have signed in, I would have got way better speed in the Microsoft Edge as well. Better than what I'm getting here. So let me quickly actually sign in uh, to show you guys. Uh, Maybe I'll stop the sharing for a minute, or I can do it actually. Let's use it for now. Otherwise, I'll use it from Chrome only. Okay. So next is, by the way, this is the option more creative. Can you see my mouse cursor as well? So this is the more creative, more balanced, and more precise option. So this is the temperature thing somebody asked me in the chat earlier. So let's start, and I'll ask you questions, and we'll compare the responses from all the three. Okay. So let's ask a same question what we asked earlier. I'll copy paste it on all three. This is ChatGPT. Second one is Copilot. Third one is Gemini. Maybe adjust it a little. Okay. So when I press enter in first, I press enter in second, I press enter in third. If you see, the ChatGPT was way quicker in answering, but Google brought the answer at once. But Google is still evaluating the Gemini statements and preparing, still going on. But there is one thing you can see. The Google gave this answer with the link, but you can see Copilot gave a very big detailed answer, largest usable volume, largest floor area, and some images, some links. But ChatGPT gave a quickest answer, but it was more concentrated on where it is. And we can see GPT is fast, small, and precise, but Copilot and the Gemini was very small here, not even um, uh, exaggerated or not even quick, but Copilot was a detailed answer. Now let me search something else so we can see more news. Now I want to judge like what is the uh, like what latest data this is trained on, how I can get the latest trend. So if all these are trained on latest data, so I'll ask new seven wonders of the world or historical data, how it is trained on. So I'll ask in all three. Now I'll press enter in each. Just see the difference. So ChatGPT was able to give you the answers, but only in terms of the names. Now see Gemini. It gives you the answers along with the images in the right. You can see along with the images of each and every place, but it gave the answer at once. ChatGPT was writing it word by word. And now, if you see below, it has given you a link also where the source this data is coming from. Now, seeing the Copilot, which is from Microsoft, again, a very well structured answer, to be honest, for me. I can see in the left name, and in the right I can see the image which I can use, alter, or do anything with that. Then in the bottom, it is also suggesting me the tools, which is actually the ads version. Some people might hate it, some people might love it, depends on the user. And it is also giving me links. Google was giving me just one link, it is giving me more multiple links, and it is also suggesting what is the next question you might ask. So I personally feel this particular case, Copilot gave a very concrete answer to me. Now, like it, yeah. Now let's go to some different domain. Like I want to get all the travel details, for example. So let me search. So let's search a fastest way. I was planning, by the way, a trip to uh, Ge- Georgia. So let's search. Can you give me a fastest route to reach Tbilisi? Tbilisi is the capital of Georgia. from, say, Mumbai. Let's search this in all, and let's see what type of answer they will be giving us. So here, actually, ChatGPT is giving detailed answer in terms of text, but it was slow. The co-pilot gave a very quick answer. It also gave me so, but it gave all the answer like Mumbai to Dubai to Tbilisi. So common routes. Then it gives an itinerary also to me. Itinerary also. I go to this. Then travel time, approximate what is the travel time, and but if you see in Copilot, it is also giving me the by air route and other considerations. And so, moreover, I felt this answer ChatGPT was more correct to me. And in the last one, this was only particular answer, very concrete answer that please take the fastest route is this. To Tbilisi is by airplane, flights are typically blah blah blah. So personally, I felt here the Chat GPT and Copilot were good at least for me. You can book your tickets also directly from Copilot. So this feature of Copilot is very good for me to be honest. Like I can use it as a search engine at the same time I can book the tickets as well, which ChatGPT again is not giving me. It gave me correct answer, but yeah, the Copilot gave me answer along with ads. Somebody loves it, somebody again doesn't. That's your choice. And yeah, this is the this one. Now let's ask something on a different topic, completely different topic. Or let's ask something. Uh, Let me ask one last question and then we'll ask the separate. I'll ask the following question. Can you plan it for me? Please plan a trip for 3 days for me. I'll ask the same thing here. So let's see how good they are in understanding the context. Because I asked earlier, I want to go to Tbilisi. They gave me an itinerary which was like 7 days, a big one. I'll ask just for I'm going for 3 days. Let's see what it gives me. Wow, Google here shined again. So Google Gemini even gave me what all places I can visit. So explore Old Tbilisi, then afternoon go to this, evening go to this, day two, day three. I think somewhat ChatGPT also did, but ChatGPT is not giving me places that much. It is more on a day one, it is just giving me if we see arrive, check in, afternoon, this, old town, evening, this. There are no places. This is it is giving places in morning at least here. And yeah, I like this answer, but it is a little bit on overwhelming. And this particular answer with has images because of course ChatGPT doesn't give images that I've already told. And let's see in Copilot. In Copilot, similar to ChatGPT, it also gave me an answer in that way only. That breakfast, city tour, lunch, afternoon, relaxation, dinner, evening, this. Okay, cafe names and all those things. Remember to check the local COVID-19. But yeah, I like that. Almost all gave were able to give me answer because of good context window they have. So, but we can see day-to-day plan like breakdown was more proper in terms of ChatGPT and Copilot. ChatGPT was very explicit, but Gemini also gave me a very good answer with images, but that was not in points. So that is again personal preference. I am loving Copilot for now, to be honest. Let's move ahead with next query, which is totally different to here. So we'll ask something which is latest, and let's see if any of them is able to answer. So let me ask, what is the latest LLM by Meta? So this was launched this month or last month in conference. This was third, I think. So let's see if any of them or all of them are able to answer. This shows what latest knowledge they have or what is the latest data they have trained on. Let's see. Let's see. And let's see. So Copilot seems to be slow. Okay, searched for sites. ChatGPT has recently, by the way, launched this search feature. They can online search at the same time. So earlier they were giving answers from the trained model. That's why it was said that it is trained till 2022, it is trained in this. But now it is actually searching live websites and giving you answer, and it is very quick. You can see it is giving the correct answer. It is launched in 2024, Llama 3, and same goes for Copilot. Copilot is going in depths of the model as well, but it was slow at least. So, and Gemini gave a crisp answer, just a small answer, what is required and done. It is not going in details, to be honest, but yeah, personal preference, like these type of results I want quickly given to me. Earlier ChatGPT was lagging in this. ChatGPT was trained in 2022 of data. Now ChatGPT has recently brought in a feature which can search the web on when you are asking a query, and that's why they are able to give the answers very quickly. And they are also started giving these that where the answer is picked from. This is very proper in Copilot, at least it is giving Hugging Face, Hindu, The Median, Indian Express. So yeah, this is at least way better to me. But the speed was, of course, ChatGPT has the best speed. Now let's ask something for image generation. Okay. Uh, Let me ask, can you generate an image for me? Can you generate an image of a dog dancing in the rain? Something weird, right? Who would have imagined or who would have created such an image? Let's see if they can envision or create something like that. Of course, ChatGPT cannot answer, cannot give an image. Earlier it was not giving, but this is 4. Let's see. Okay. Copilot did generate it, but it is saying I'll create that, but I cannot see without sign in. Let me go to the Copilot signed in one and let's search for the same one. Oh, okay. Here also I'm not signed in. Yeah, so by the way, I have tested it earlier. In this system, I'm not logged in. I cannot sign in right now. But if you see on the right, Google created very good images. But the Copilot is best in creating images. Copilot's images are way better, by the way. And ChatGPT cannot generate images. That's why it is giving me a code to generate an image. Use this code and run it and generate an image. And it, of course, won't be that quality. But if we see the Google ones, this is such a good image they have created. But this is all these are stored images, but this image is a created image. And but Copilot, by the way, I'm not able to show, sorry for that, but Copilot gives the best images, to be honest with you all. Let me try if I can. Sorry. Yeah, Copilot, yeah, that's so with that code they are able to create something like that. You can see the left, that is funny. uh, but yeah, so all in all, I feel overall, in my personal opinion, GPT is the fastest. It gives responses very quickly. But if you want a response in terms of images and something creative, then Copilot is better, or I think it is the best one. Like in searching the web, of course, Google is the master, but Copilot is again shining on that part as well. So for me, Google gives correct answers, on spot answers, and something which they already have. But if you want funny answers, because you can choose here if you want interactive answers or which type of Copilot is best. And GPT has limits in the free version. In the paid version, they have everything. By the way, they have limits in that, but it is fastest. So summarization is better in Copilot, to be honest, for me. Yeah, in images, yeah, that's the overall. But you guys might be having your ideas. What are your own suggestions? I'll be eager to hear. Stopping the sharing for now. Can you see my screen now? Hello?
Are you sharing screen, Aman?
No, I've stopped actually.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was asking.
Yes.
Okay. So, uh, okay, Rajesh, you are asking, give me. Okay, let's do it. Let's do this. I'll share it again, and I'll search it on all three. Let me know when you guys are able to see it. And yeah, paid GPT also generate better images. That is right. Because Chat GPT and Copilot, they both are using GPT at the back end. Say the it paid one do generate good images, but Copilot is very interactive in their UI as well. So if you use, but GPT paid version gives everything, to be honest. Yeah. So it's the same model they're using on the back end. Let, are you guys able to see the screen now?
Yes.
Let me copy this question. Let's search this question in all three. If you see the Chat GPT and Copilot are almost giving same responses, but Chat GPT is going one step ahead, Copilot is going in one step ahead in details, like in terms of points, and Chat GPT is giving more on details. And Google's one was way detailed, but only 3 points are covered. So you guys are better judges of this. What suits your particular needs and what UI you like. That also is a big point. And by the way, in Copilot, everything is free. I'm searching. So yeah. Uh, so answers of ChatGPT are quicker. I personally think ChatGPT is quickest, in fact. So yeah. Now you guys are more judged to me than which one is better in this one particular case. At least I can see the distribution better in ChatGPT and Copilot. Yeah, that is two paid GPT man. I've seen Rajesh. I haven't explored Copilot in MS Office because I didn't find it much efficient. Okay, so that is sorry, there was some change. Yeah, so in MS Office, they have brought in a feature for Copilot, but earlier it was GPT 3.5. Now they're using GPT 4. But how useful it is in Office in creation presentations and all, sorry, Office, I'm not very sure of that. In Word creations, I'm not sure of that. But Copilot and ChatGPT use the same model at backend. But Copilot has one advantage, which is their Bing. Bing is their Google's replica of Microsoft, their search engine. So that one advantage Microsoft has, and they use same model because Microsoft is an investor in OpenAI. So they are almost same models. I haven't tried, by the way. Yeah, Rajesh, Copilot is better. I also felt almost in all answers, to be honest. And there is, by the way, one more, guys, Anthropic, which I showed earlier, but I'm not showing here because of the screen size. That is again like ChatGPT, quick to answer and correct answers, but it is not in image generation and all those things. By the way, Google also ChatGPT also has something Sora models, which are different models where you can create videos and all those things. And soon they will appear in Microsoft as well. Any other query anybody has?
Yeah, so Aman, I'm not able to type, being a panelist. So one question I have is how fast it's possible to train an LLM?
Good question. So again, there are two parts of it. One is creating a custom GPT, which that I can also show you. I'll show you after this answer. Custom GPT is can be created quickly in like 2-3 days, but creating a fine-tuned LLM will take weeks of training, and creating an entirely new LLM from scratch will take 6 months of training or so, based on the size of the data you're using and the number of parameters you are using.
Okay.
So there are three parts. One is fine tuning, one is custom GPT, and one is new model, which I showed you, like Bharat GPT and all those things. So there is one custom GPT thing. I'll share the screen again to show this. GPT Marketplace also. So let me share my screen.
Also, later, if you can talk about the narrow language model.
Mm-hmm. So can you see my screen? So guys, can you see the screen, right?
Yeah, visible. Yes.
So yeah, this is the GPT store. So here you can see all the, okay, now this, I have to reshare actually. So you can search for all the custom GPTs that already exist. These are created by people in the OpenAI's own website, and this is like a marketplace, like what Google Play Store is or Apple iOS App Store is, something like that. Here people can come in and create their custom GPT and put it here, which somebody asked me before as well. So you can see research analysis. You want something in say finance. So there are GPTs for that. You can see. So these are tailored. They are fine tuned or tailored towards this particular. For example, I don't know. I'm just opening randomly. So this has 4.3 ratings, and yeah, this is for more for Japanese translator. So yeah, you can see what the knowledge charts, graphs, equations. So yeah, you can see which type of GPT you want. So it is becoming next Play Store or App Store sort of thing. So programming, they have many GitHub Code Copilot, Python. Then they have for lifestyle, astrology, all these things. Yeah, and you can. I can also maybe show something called how to create a custom GPT. So this is a way to create a custom GPT. I can give you the links of all these which I'm opening. Maybe uh, this is a custom GPT one, which shows you like what all GPTs exist, like how to custom create a GPT. Like you can create something, writing coach, laundry buddy, tech advisor, and this talks about how to create and what all the benefits are there. And yeah, so just play with it. So in 4.0, GPT 4.0 recently launched, you can simulate the way humans answer. Yeah. Dinesh, you were having some query for me. So can you tell me again?
Yeah, I was asking about narrow language models.
Okay. Narrow language model. Let me share something on that as well. And then I'll at the same time explain. So if I was able to explain what NLP tasks were. So there was narrow language models is a subterm which created out of from small language models. Nowadays there is a trend on small language models. Why these models are smaller versions of, you can say, large language models, and why they are created is for efficiency in a particular task. Speed, you want to create it very quickly, you want to run it say on phone for some particular application or anything, and the speed you want, and you want the privacy of the data and customization. So nowadays people are going with SML. So chat agents, LLM are better, to be honest, for like customer support and all those things, but SLMs are better in on device activities, like, or on small activities where privacy is needed, or something on which you need and you don't have the infra of big GPUs or anything, because in phone you don't have that much amount of RAM or anything. So yeah, their small language models also come in play. I've not covered here small language models because they are more of a research area, but they have been launched by some companies. But yeah, in fact, our company also I have written a paper on that. I'm not very sure I can find it right now. So yeah.
There's a question about Claude. In the chat, somebody's asked about. If you can enlighten more about Claude.
Yeah, Claude is again a model by Anthropic. This is Anthropic is a company which has Claude. It also has three versions, Opus and others. I don't remember the name. And those also give us something like similar to ChatGPT sort of infra. I can show you Claude 3. Claude 3 is the model, by the way, which GPT has, but Anthropic gives the UI also of it. So you can go to this link to try it out. Let me share it with you. You just have to log in with your number. So and it gives it's the answer quality is very good by Claude, to be honest, in terms of NLP tasks, means LLM related tasks. If you ask him something, it will not generate images or things, but or live search, but the answer quality in terms of accuracy is very high for this one, Claude. And yeah, so Claude is a model, Anthropic is the company. So Claude 3 is the latest one, and they also have a paid and a unpaid one. Let me check the chat in the webinar chat now. LLM or SLM, yes, you can learn if you want in your own time, and that's in fact a completely different domain. You have to understand how LLMs work, transformer models work, and then you can go into SLM. Maybe later I can, if needed, or in later terms, somebody can give a seminar on those as well. But that will be a pure technical thing if you want to go in depth of how they are created and how SLMs are used nowadays.
Yeah, any more questions, or we would wrap up the session now? Maitri, would you come in, please?
If you guys want to read about SLMs, I can share one article recently written. Let me find it if I can find it in the meanwhile, and otherwise you can wrap it up as well. Just give me a minute. Sorry, I'm not able to find it right now.
Looks like this is the end of the questions. Any more questions, anybody? Does not look like. So I think this is end of session. Aman, you were great. You brought our, I think basically chartered accountants, we as chartered accountants, we have known only ChatGPT and a little bit,
Okay.
about Gemini. Little bit about Gemini, that too not in depth. You have
Mhm.
enlightened us about LLM. You have enlightened about the kind of models which are available, the AI which is available in India. So beyond ChatGPT, we have learned a lot today. You have given us
Okay.
live
Thank you.
demos of everything. It has been a wonderful session, and given the interaction on a technical subject for us, this has been a wonderful interaction and it has been great. So I, on behalf of everybody over here, would like to thank you very much for the session that you've given us, the kind of, the curiosity that you have, created in us, that we can compare, we can see, what kind of this will be given. So what kind of responses that we will get in various, AIs. That has been great to see. And I'm sure a lot of people will now, have just, they've got the taste of this. I'm sure a lot of people will be, exploring more. So thank you so much. On behalf of everybody and on behalf of WIRC, thank you, Aman. Thank you for the great session.
Thanks a lot. I'm happy to hear that I was able to convey the message I came here with, and it was anyway useful even for 1% of the work. And by the way, I've given the link to the one I was talking in the meanwhile.
Yes, so Aman
Yeah.
has shared his LinkedIn link also. So if anybody wants to connect, thank you, Aman. Thank you so much. And with this,
By the way, that's not my LinkedIn. That's LinkedIn of the post which I was talking about.
post, LinkedIn post. I'm sorry. I did
Yeah.
not read it correctly. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So the LinkedIn
Well,
post of what he was talking about.
SLMs, yeah.
You've also shared a lot of links. About Anthropic. You've shared links about OpenAI and ChatGPT and everything. So I'm sure everybody has taken note of those links, because as soon as we leave the session, the links will be lost. So please, everybody, just take note of those links that he has shared. And with this, shall we end the session, Dineshji?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much
much.
once again, Aman.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.